Welcome to Concrete Block, your premier destination for in-depth analysis and discussion of the latest news and trends shaping our world. I'm your host, Walter, and we're excited to have you join us today. As we dive into the world of finance and economics, a story that's been making headlines has caught our attention. The relationship between President Donald Trump and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has been under scrutiny, with the president recently criticizing Powell for not lowering interest rates. This criticism has sent ripples through the markets, with U.S. stocks and the dollar experiencing a significant decline. To provide some context, Rob Kaplan, vice chairman of Goldman Sachs, recently shared his insights on the future of the Fed and the outlook for rates in an interview with Bloomberg's Eric Schatzker at the Bloomberg Sell-Side Leaders Forum. Kaplan emphasized the importance of independence for the Federal Reserve, highlighting its crucial role in maintaining a stable economy. Kaplan also discussed the changing landscape of the financial industry, noting that while some principles remain the same, such as prioritizing clients' interests and investing in people, the complexity of the world has increased exponentially. He stressed that firms must now bring their entire global capabilities to bear when serving clients, requiring a much more collaborative and team-oriented approach. Meanwhile, President Trump has stated that he has no intention of firing Fed Chair Powell, despite his criticisms. Powell, who was appointed by Trump during his first term as president, has asserted that the president cannot remove him under the law. As we navigate this complex web of financial news and political developments, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and stay informed. We'll continue to monitor these stories and provide you with balanced analysis and updates. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter, and we're diving into the world of international news and politics. Today, we're focusing on a significant development in South Asia, where tensions are rising between India and Pakistan after a recent attack in Kashmir. To break it down for you, the situation is complex and multifaceted. The attack has sparked outrage and condemnation from the Indian government, which has led to increased military presence in the region. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Foreign Minister, Ishaq Dar, has been engaging in diplomatic efforts with Afghanistan, pledging cooperation on security, trade, and connectivity. It's essential to understand that this is not just a bilateral issue between India and Pakistan, but also involves other regional players like Afghanistan. The Taliban's return to power in Kabul in 2021 has created new dynamics, with Pakistan seeking to balance its relations with the group while addressing concerns about anti-Pakistan militants operating within Afghan borders. As we analyze this situation, it's crucial to consider the historical context and the various stakeholders involved. We must also acknowledge the human impact of these geopolitical tensions, particularly on the people living in the affected regions. In Nepal, a different kind of crisis is unfolding. Thousands of teachers have been protesting in Kathmandu, demanding job security and better working conditions. The protests have garnered public sympathy, putting pressure on the government to address their concerns. This situation highlights the broader issues of governance and accountability in Nepal, where the political class is often seen as out of touch with the people's needs. As we navigate these complex stories, it's essential to approach them with nuance and empathy. We must consider multiple perspectives and avoid simplistic or biased narratives. By doing so, we can gain a deeper understanding of the challenges facing South Asia and the world at large. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We're wrapping up today's show with a look at the latest developments in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It's been a tumultuous few weeks, with both sides engaging in diplomatic efforts to bring an end to the war. As we've been following, US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have been at odds over the terms of a potential peace agreement. The US has proposed a deal that would involve recognizing Russia's occupation of Crimea, but Ukraine has refused to budge on this point. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance has issued an ultimatum to both Russia and Ukraine, stating that the US has made a very explicit proposal to end the war, and that it's time for both sides to either accept the deal or risk the US walking away from the negotiating table. It's a high-stakes game of diplomacy, with the fate of millions of people hanging in the balance. The US is pushing for a freeze on territorial lines and a long-term diplomatic settlement, but Russia and Ukraine are dug in on their respective positions. We've seen reports of officials meeting in London to discuss peace talks, but it seems that those efforts have been downgraded after Secretary of State Marco Rubio pulled out. President Trump has taken to social media to lash out at Zelensky, accusing him of refusing to recognize Russia's occupation of Crimea. As the situation continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the road to peace in Ukraine will be long and difficult. With the US warning that it may abandon talks if a deal can't be reached, it's unclear what the next steps will be. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we urge all parties involved to prioritize diplomacy and work towards a peaceful resolution that takes into account the needs and concerns of all Ukrainians. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.